Nah, be for real. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Really Not the Not Be For Real podcast. I'm here with my host Trey, and we have two special guests. Introduce yourself, guys.
All right, I'll go first. Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a model and a mom, and you can find me on BrittanyJordan_presser on Instagram.
Hi, my name is Charles. You can call me Uncle Charles. You can find me on Instagram as Uncle Charles 101. I'm a destiny helper / motivational speaker.
Beautiful. Welcome, guys.
That's what's up. Welcome.
All right. So based off the video that we just watched, I have two questions for everyone. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
All right. First question. Why do women have a problem being silent?
I heard it was a disrespectful question at one point in time, but I would like to hear from this nice young lady right here.
I'll go first. Just for me, an experience being a woman, and being around other women, I think we grow up with so many excuses for being a girl and a woman. And so we never really learn accountability to hold our emotions. And so when we grow up and we get into situations to where we feel attacked or uncomfortable, we get emotional. And then we think that that emotion has to be accepted by everybody. But as I'm growing and just becoming mature, I've realized that not having control of your emotions make a situation so much worse. So I've learned to be quiet because I have seen how my emotions have made a bad situation even worse. So I think women should be aware of the fact that just because you're PMSing doesn't mean you need to be loud.
Right.
And just like, oh, I don't feel good. Let me, rage. No.
Let me ask you this. You said when you're younger, you don't get taught how to manage your emotions. So you feel like certain parents are not teaching their kids to manage their emotions for as things they don't want. I mean, not don't want, but can't get in life
Yeah.
or achieve in life. You believe they're not?
Yes, I do think it's based on parenting. I don't think a lot of parents, I can't say every parent, but having kids now, I've seen spaces where some parents do let their children act any way that they want to act, and they think temper tantrums are okay. They don't teach them to, calm down, time out, sit out. Some children even see their parents themselves react in that way. So if you're a young woman and you see your mother operating in this space, it's taught to you, it's instilled into you. And so yeah, if it's not taught as a child to kind of, no, you can't act this way, you do need to be quiet, you do need to sit down. And then, especially as girls, we put on tears. A little girl put on tears, she cries, she wants this, she wants that. Everybody kind of coddles that instead of correcting that. And so when we mature as women, guess what's going to happen? We don't know how to be silent because we've been taught that it's okay.
So you said as you got older, you learned how to silence yourself. What took place for you? What position were you in that made you think like, you know what, I need to shut the fuck up?
To be honest with you, I lost control. Like they just rage, just pure rage.
What was the situation like?
It was one of those situations to where, okay, I was in a relationship and we can say that the partner wasn't being faithful or being right. Just being disrespectful, right? And because my emotions, I wanted to rationalize what he had done. I wanted to find reasons, I guess, how I could fix it, what I did wrong, instead of just accepting that this wasn't the person I needed to be with, violated something, and just leaving. I let my emotions, I wanted to argue, I wanted to figure out what was going on. All I had to do was be silent. He already showed me who he was. Why do I need to speak? Why do I need to let out rage?
So to go a little bit further, and I hope you don't mind, is that dog beat?
Daddy, wow.
Okay. So, with that being said, how many times was he a habitual line crosser?
Um, well, at that time when I found it out, I guess a lot.
So it was
Yeah.
that one time, the one time that you found out, you just took off like
That's not what she
it.
said.
No, that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to make sure I understand.
Yeah, so I mean, he had done little things, or and I may have suspected some things. And I think as women too, sometimes we suppress what we feel because sometimes we feel like we're not heard. And so when a time comes up to where we feel like we have that space to finally let it out, we can just go on forever about it because we finally have boiled over. And so at that time, it was little things, but when I found out, it was like a multitude of things.
You had all the emotion.
Yes. And so it scared me to see how I got to a certain space. And I think that women should be able to sit for a moment. And I don't think we really are given that space either to be able to sit within ourselves, to be able to be silent. Because when we do, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like that? Why are you different from me? I need this from you. And it's like, okay, well, let me give you what you need. And I can't even have time for myself to even be silent.
Yeah.
So I have learned how to take control of those moments for me to be silent so I don't speak.
We're going to pause right there. Lena, I want you to answer the question because I want to see how this crosses for both of y'all.
Okay. Why do men have problems silent? I mean, to an extent, I understand exactly what she's saying, but I feel like another major reason why women probably feel like they will have a problem being silent is simply because back in the day, they were always silent. The men just did whatever the case may be, and they had to accept it.
Yeah.
But now, since we're becoming more independent, where laws have been passed, so we can now do certain things that we weren't allowed to do. And we have gained our power.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not necessarily that us trying to be problematic necessarily. It's just that now we're finally voicing ourselves and standing up for ourselves and being more independent.
Now, do you feel like there's a way to voice your opinion?
But if you think about it,
That's not shit now,
yeah, of course. So at the end of the day, delivery is absolutely everything. But then you have to also think about the simple fact that this is generations of emotion and anger that is built up that now is being released. Like from growing up watching like maybe our mom or maybe stories from our grandma who went through certain things. Now that we are in different positions than how it used to be back in the day, now we're able to, you know what, I'm going to speak up for myself.
So can you say when a situation happened where you lost your shit and like just spazzed out?
Yeah.
So during that situation, when did it come to your mind was like, you know what, I just need to chill out. I don't need to.
She kind of touched on that too. It came to a certain point where it's like if someone fully reveals themselves, there's nothing else to say. And with me, I can say personally, if I am really allowing myself, especially this current day age, if I'm allowing myself to, I guess, lash out, is because I'm making sure you're not ever coming back. Like I'm killing it. I'm burning the bridge. I'm catching the whole town on fire. It's dead. So I'm making sure you remember that and know that, sometimes when you're kind of silent, people kind of assume that, oh, maybe I can contact them on a different day and time we can talk about this. No, we're good.
But I mean, again, y'all are talking about lashing out to end it, right?
Yes.
Isn't there a way to just communicate properly?
So yes.
And be like, yeah, this shit did not work.
You have to think about it like this. The people that you are most likely probably lashing out on are people that, at least with me, let me speak personally.
Go ahead.
The people that I have lashed out on have been people who I know for a fact, they're actually gonna, that's the way they communicate, is lashing.
Okay.
So therefore you have to also think about that. Even though you may know how to deliver it in a better light, doesn't mean that they're actually gonna process it and accept it in that form. Because being too soft with it may not be how they understand.
Understandable.
Yes.
Understandable. That else.
What about you? What can you have on the question?
Well, a lot was said. What was the question?
The question one more time was, why do women have a problem being silent? What do you feel like is the reason behind it?
Pretty much, we emulate what we see. So I heard somewhere that most women are 14 years old. As they grow up, it's still a little 14-year-old girl that maybe she has been under nurtured. And like you said, that you guys been through a lot, but when it comes time for y'all to really speak up for yourselves, it takes a skill. So it's something that you have to learn. And then a lot of times you've been through a lot, and it takes a skill to be silent. So it's more skill versus will. Because when you talk too much too fast, you can burn that bridge that you talked about. But nowadays you just don't really want to burn bridges. You want to be bright. You want to be the best you can, and everything is much. You learn a lot through the experiences. So
Experiences are key.
we have to be allowed to grow and go through our own process. So that might be a part of your process. So
Right.
after that, then we grow from that, and then we don't do that anymore.
So I was while y'all are talking, I'm thinking, and just all reverts back to how you are brought up. Ultimately,
Absolutely.
because it's just straight communication. That's what it's all about. If you are taught to, while I'm speaking, you listen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then once I'm done speaking, you can say your part. That's where I believe a person will have that, that part where they can sit back and just listen. Just like here, we're on the panel. You talk, she talks, you talk. We all let each other get their shit off. You know what I mean? But ultimately, that it all boils back down to when you're legit, how your parents raised you. I mean, that's where you know how to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You know right from wrong and all this other stuff. So I feel like communication as a child needs to be taught properly by an adult. Now, I think where we lose ourselves is when we start smelling ourselves as teenagers. That's where we kind of lose ourselves. But I believe, and I'm not even gonna I'm not knocking parents, households without two parents households, but I believe communication is better when you have a two-parent household.
Can I put on something on that too?
Yes.
Like, I grew up in a two-parent household. My parents are still married to this day. I think it's beyond that, though. I think especially like with girls, like a father can be there,
Yeah.
but if he's not teaching her, if he's not like really guiding her as that male figure in her life, it still wouldn't be that effective.
I get it. So do you consider that man a father or just a dad?
Sperm donor.
Yeah.
No, he
Not even a sperm donor, just a dad. Just I think they said there's a difference between the dad and the father and things of that nature. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be a dad. In some ways they can show up, in some ways they can't. But it also comes down to them then, talking about generations, because if they didn't have their parents or they weren't taught the way, they're also learning as they go too.
but you learn from their mistakes.
It would learn
So
from
like
mistakes.
again, I always told myself, my dad's not perfect. So I look at it like this: I'm gonna be the remix. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take what he instilled in me, but I'm a remix. Maybe his jewels that he was giving me wasn't hitting me because of his delivery.
Exactly.
So as I age as a man and start understanding what he was saying, I can be like, okay, you know what? You was telling me this when I was 12. But I didn't get that information. I didn't understand it because the way you was trying to give it to me.
Exactly.
So now that I have a child, I can give that information up, but I'm going to give it up a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? Sir? That's why I say it's just going to be the remix. Take that information and just remix it up. You know? That's just how I, again, view it. So.
Right. Anything else, Steph? Anything else, Adam?
It's just a learned behavior. Like we do what we see. For example, you ever see the child that's out? So there's a child there, and then the child might just say shit, and everybody looks at the kid, then everybody looks at the parent. Because it's the parents' fault. You hear me?
Yeah. The verbiage that is used. Yes.
The baby says that, we're like, what do you teach this kid at home? You know? So
And you're right. I mean, I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, yo, you know, we do have to articulate ourselves differently around our kids so they can talk properly and things of that nature. Why are we, you know, we can talk our slang here and there, but you want to make sure they're able to speak educatedly. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Because a prime example of that is literally what happened today while I was at work.
Yeah.
A parent passed by, and then the children was following, and the parent actually didn't say a word to us. I'm in sales.
Yeah.
And time stores to be exact. And the kids, these boys are probably like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They look us dead in the face like, you guys are a scam.
Oh, see what I mean?
I'm sorry. I'm like, first of all, what did that little boy just say that?
Boy, yeah, jet went off. Jet went off. That's crazy.
So that's obviously, it has to be him mimicking his parents.
Yeah.
they heard that at home.
They have to hear that because, like, you're like,
And they probably witnessed something that their family was like, yo, I just got scammed.
but apparently us and the environment that we work in, there's just no way that it can possibly be scammed. You can get scammed, but by a worldwide company.
Yeah, I get it. So for you two ladies, what message would you give out that is the importance of being a silent woman, but not a silenced woman?
That's good. Okay, I'll go. Being a woman of God, and just growing in my faith and build relationship with God, you begin to understand that your words have power. Your reactions also have power. Like we say, when we think of children or we think about anybody watching us, you're absorbing that. So I could be affecting you just by what I say. I could be killing something in you just by what I say. You carry seed inside of you. Yeah. So once I began to understand the importance of that, I realized that it's beyond just my words. It's the people I connect with, the people I'm around, because it's the certain type of people that's going to make you respond a certain way.
They serve birds of a feather flock together, right?
Exactly. So you have to begin to remove yourself from people that irritate your spirit, that irritate your thought process.
Like somebody crossed that mind like another. Irritate your spirit.
Because if you have person A over here that has an irritated spirit in them, and then they come and irritate your spirit, it's quicker to release something out your mouth before you realize it. But then if you have somebody on your other side who's calmer and more relaxed and more educated and more wise with their words, you'll be able to have a moment to actually process your thoughts instead of having somebody that irritates you. So choose your people. Yeah. I think that's the simplest thing. Choose your people.
I mean, even if somebody was irritating you, you can have that self-control and kind of lead it your way, in your favor.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to give them the same type of energy.
Yeah, but it goes back to what he said. It's a skill. Like, you got to start building that.
Yeah, no, I get it. If you didn't learn it, if you didn't grow up with it, of course you got to learn it. You got to experience life to, you know what I'm saying, get there. Yeah. But ultimately, you know, when you get there, shit, nothing. And I'm speaking off of experience because I've been pushed. I've been pushed. So with that being said, I guarantee you there's nobody pushing me ever over that edge.
Right. Again, yeah, I feel you with that. Because once you get to a certain level, and I think if you see how you can get, and like something like changes in your mindset that's like, oh man.
Where you can kind of pick up on where it may happen again. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm avoid it. You find every way
Uh-huh.
to like
I
maneuver
just want to
against
avoid
it.
prison. I'm straight. You feel me? Like, that's just the realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like, fuck wants to be locked up. That's dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to know the consequences of your actions
That too.
ultimately.
Yeah.
So like, if I do this, if I put them in the hospital, then they're on their deathbed, I might end up in prison for years. You feel me? So yeah, exactly. You have to sit there and fuck with yourself like, yo. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. So
All right. So next question then, guys. Why do men have a problem with self-control?
Ooh. Ooh.
Why is that? What's the problem with that?
I mean, because women, now let me stop fast.
Let's get into it.
Next question is, why do men have a problem with self-control?
Yeah, like I was saying, women, nah, let me stop. You know what? I'm gonna let you do the honors.
Really?
Put your neck out there first, and then I'm gonna,
You got it.
I'm gonna be like a cleanup hitter. You feel me? Just go ahead and knock that home run out for us.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Self-control. All right. So
I want you to do this because we always try and put it on at a place where we're speaking for all men. I want you to speak about yourself, your personal experience,
absolutely.
and how you learned how to take that self-control back.
Okay. So self-control is developed. You have to develop self-control.
So why do you feel like men have a problem with it then?
The reason why men have a problem with it, well, my own personal experience, because I try to do everything on my own, try to manage my own feelings, my own emotions, try to manage the woman's emotions. Being a black man, the way society kills what he needs, so we got all of that, right?
Wow.
I'm glad I let him go first. So after living years, falling down and getting up,
Right.
we realize that it's not in my power to manage my own emotions and manage who I am. It comes with submission, right? So to the Creator, to the God who knows about me, right? So a very wise man said that. All right, so the iPhone, we wouldn't use an iPhone to prop open a window. The proper function of an iPhone is to use it to make phone calls or your social media and everything that you use it for. But the self-control aspect is that we must submit to God, and we want our women to submit to us. We want society to respect us. So we have to develop character and we have to build ourselves up. And the only source that I know that works for me in my self-development is submitting to the Creator.
That's fire. I don't like, seriously. That's fire. I really respected that.
Yeah.
Cause just my hope.
yeah, he came like
What y'all women say? He ate with that. Get the fuck out. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. I used to be a wild individual. Still am to an extent. You feel me?
Same.
But I almost lost my life in the sense of I let somebody push my buttons too much, right?
Same.
And I'm not blaming women, but it was from the opposite sex. Cause let's keep it a buck. Women know how to push them goddamn buttons. So when I was in that situation and almost losing everything, you feel me? Just everything. My mom was like, baby, you need to get closer to God. You got to get closer to God. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? Like, he ain't got nothing to do with this right now. This is how I'm thinking. You dig?
Absolutely.
So while I'm going through the situation, I ain't even realizing God is bringing me back to him. You feel me?
I love it.
He's like, bro, I'm finna take you on this journey with me real quick.
I love it.
Cause, you know, like he see him spazzing. I'm losing it. And like, you know, they say he gives his toughest warriors the toughest battles, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm like literally I'm on the edge, like homicidal, suicidal. I'm balancing. You dig? Like I'm there. I end up going to jail. And you know, like I said, God was leading me the way. He made sure my money was tight so I could bail myself out. I didn't have to ask for nobody. It was just me and him. But I didn't realize that yet. So I go in the jail cell. I get a book. Keep in mind now, ain't nobody leave that book for me. But God made sure it was there for me. You did? So I'm going through the chapters. I ain't reading no chapters. I just ended up at a chapter.
Okay.
You feel me? This is him guiding me right now.
Yeah.
When I look back on it, you did? So I read a little bit of the chapter. And he was like, it was a king who had a small army that was always consistently defeating bigger armies, bigger kingdoms, because he had God on his side. So I'm like, all right, I keep reading. The king ended up losing the battle because the day he put his faith in man. So I shut that book right there. Light bulb went off in my damn head. I said, I get it. I don't need man. I need you.
That's it.
He found you that night, huh?
What?
Found you that night.
I got out of it. I got out of jail I was probably in there good 10 hours. Who knows? 12.
Oh,
A little bit over 12. I ain't, you know what I'm saying?
it was enough.
Yeah. I built myself out. I was Gucci. But when I got out, I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. And I'm just telling myself, oh yeah, it's time to move different. Boom. I started moving different. And while I'm on this journey, you got to keep in mind, I'm on my dick. When I mean, I'm on dick, I'm only bringing $300 home. You feel me? My rent was over
Oh,
50.
that's what that meant. I didn't know what on your dick meant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When that's what that means. Like when you on your dick, you are out of love. Yeah. You have nothing, not a pot to piss in. So I'm moving, you know, like I said, I'm gonna bring $300 home, child support a stack, rent high, you feel me? Lost my car,
Wow.
lost my chick, I lost everything,
Wow.
all just like that. But guess what I didn't lose though? That part. So while I'm trucking, taking the bus to get to work, waking up at 3:30 in the morning, you dig? Just to get to work by 7.
Mm.
Getting off at 3:30 to get home by 7. You dig? So time goes by and I'm asking God. And we're not supposed to question God.
Right.
But I asked him, I said, God, how much longer do you feel I need to go through this with you? And then I said, you know what? Scratch that. I said, I'm going to let you lead the way to put confirmation in the fact that, bro, you finna lead me. As I'm letting him lead, boom, got me a new job. Car came back in effect.
That thing, sir.
Money started skyrocketing back on my, you know what I'm saying? And then I started seeing who wasn't there
Right. Yeah.
at all. Yeah, exactly. And I started moving by myself for a long period of time. And I'm like, okay, I see what you want. I don't need nobody but you. But to rewind it back to the self-control part is I can't get angry about any and everything or anybody. I just got to let God handle it.
Absolutely.
And that's why you know what I'm saying, when you said what you said, I felt that because I've been through it. You feel me?
And it usually takes that for a man to get it, because we're not going to get it from a woman. We're going to get it from our own experience.
Right.
So it usually happens when God makes a way for us, right? Because we're alone here. Like, everybody's alone here, right?
Yeah.
We're all in the same room, so we're kind of alone. So we find out in those dark times, in those times, in the tough times, that it's God that makes the way. So he's the one who gives us the strength to have self-control, because we can't do it, because you went to jail. It was out of your control. But when God made that way for you, then it kind of makes it real for you that I'm really not in control. And goes back to that submission where you submit to God.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
he's going to show you that he is God, and you just got to put it in his hands.
Yeah, that's all you do. Put it in his hand. And that's why, like I said, the self-control part of the man, what they said, we're all born in with sin. So I guess as we grow as men, we're tested, especially black men anyway. We're always consistently tested. But as we learn, as we submit to God and learn that he's going to take control, we gain self-control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So even if a man comes up to me and is disrespectful, I can have a conversation with him and give him options and let him think about it, because my self-control is there.
Right.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to think about that. You feel me?
See, I would change man. I'm going to tell you then.
But this is real, because, like I said, bro, I used to do security, and you get people test you. And as a man, one thing I've always learned about a man, just being a man too, in the same, you have to look another man in his eyes and let him know you are not a bitch.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as you look down, across, around, he gonna test you and take it further.
Pac said, what did Pac say? He said, I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Exactly. So I've always looked a man in his eyes to let him know, like, bro, you probably might beat me. We don't know.
We don't.
But I'm giving you opportunity, because my eyes are going to tell you I have somebody to get home to, which is my little girl. And my nigga, you going to die before I do. And that's just the reality.
It's your question, like you said that, because that's one of the things that I feel like I've noticed in some men who didn't have self-control. They didn't have something to place responsibility on, love on, like,
something.
there's something to lose. So it's just like, if they don't have anything to lose, it's like self-control isn't really there. So they wouldn't take a minute to pause and think.
Again, so yeah, a man could crash out if he believes he doesn't have nothing to lose.
But you always do.
Yeah, but again,
It's the
like my man said,
mindset.
when you submit to God
That's
and you lose yourself,
you lose yourself. You just
you
literally
lose him God.
Yeah.
You feel me? You're lost without your leader.
Yeah.
As long as you have a leader, you know where to follow.
I also look at great examples of people, what happens to people without self-control. You hear me? Even just for a little bit. And it might not even be big stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm from New York. I've seen some stuff that you do something very small and you pay a very large price for it. You hear me? So it could cost you a lot so there's been a lot of great examples about that, especially with our people in the news and people that you probably growing up with. We've all grown up with people that were here yesterday that are no longer here because of lack of self-control. And you can lose everything, including your life, for one bad decision.
Consequences of your actions.
Absolutely. So that's evidence that you might want to dig a little deeper.
That's my pop's favorite line. He always says, follow that road and see where it leads you. Because Atlantic Star made a song. I forgot the name of it. Where Does Time Go? And I'm saying this on this show. If you have a kid, play that for that child. And as they grow older, keep playing it and explain that song to them. But you have, as an adult, you have to listen to it. I know y'all looking at me crazy, Atlantic Star. Now, real stuff. Yeah. Listen to that song, and it will take you on a journey, and you will look at life so differently. I literally, when my daughter was probably 2, 1, and 3, every time I would listen to that song with her, and she would bob her head to that song, I would literally choke up in tears because I understood what my father was trying to say to me so long ago.
Yeah, I wish I knew the song.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I'm just saying, when you get an opportunity, Atlantic Star, Where Does Time Go? Yeah, that's something my pops put me on because he always was trying to say, in a blink of an eye, you'll be this age. He was 34, 36. I was 12. He's like, in a blink of an eye, you'll be my age. In a blink of an eye, I was 30-something years old. I'm like, yo.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Where did the time go?
Where did the
See what I'm saying? Boss was dropping jewels, and then I ain't get it. So, but ultimately, I wish he would have taught me more self-control. But again, I had to learn it from my real father, which is God himself.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
yeah, man.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
All right, then, y'all. This has been a great little episode for sure. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming and visiting us.
Definitely appreciate it, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, your perspective.
And thank you guys for tuning in to the Nah Be For Real podcast.
You already know.
Nah Be For Real.